Today on Beardo and Weirdo, we are being joined by the great Rudy Sarzo, who is going to share his stories about what that final Ozzy Sabbath show was like. And he also shares some... You got a cough drop? He shares some feelings about Jakey Lee that he's never told anybody before. I got a feeling in my throat I've never had before. And I, for some reason, won't stop coughing.
Today on Beardo and Weirdo. Where you at today?
Out home, LA.
Okay. Very nice.
So Chris, Rudy, you guys already know each other?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Last time I saw Rudy, I think it was either NAMM or Queensrÿche.
NAMM.
One of those shows.
Yeah, one of those. I think it was NAMM.
Okay.
That's kind of like the yearly reunion.
Indeed. Good to see you.
Yeah,
again.
high school reunion. Good to see you too.
I've got this wonderful, crazy relationship with Rudy that started when I was 15, 16 years old, when I took him shopping as a high schooler. I took him shopping at the mall. He was insane to get in a car with two kids. I lied to him when he said, "Do you have a car?" And I said, "Yeah, what do you need, Rudy?"
Yeah.
It was the peak of Whitesnake, and they were doing a big arena show the next day in Tucson. It's all on another show I do called I Swear This Is True. I reunited Rudy with the guy who was driving that day to the mall.
Yes, you did.
And that guy became a pastor, which I thought was really interesting because Rudy's got a strong faith. And the guy just texted me like a week or two ago and said, "Guess who I just ran into in the airport? Rudy Sarzo."
Look at that.
He saw you and took a picture with you. But Rudy, dude, you're the nicest guy. Everyone always says Rudy Sarzo, the nicest guy in rock. I still am trying to figure out how that happens.
But you know what? It's interesting because I know you both, you and Chris. And to me, you're the nicest guys. So who I consider the nicest guys that I know tell me that I am the nicest guy, it's kind of like, we're all nice. We're all the nicest guys.
Yeah, well, but I mean, I guess because the people that you had worked with notoriously had reputations for being wild, for being unfriendly.
I mean,
I
think that goes for all of us. You with
Yeah.
the ragtag crew over the Howard Stern show.
Yeah, true.
Crazy animals.
True.
Me with all our craziness going on in our band too. So yeah, but when you shine like a diamond, you shine like a diamond.
Well,
you know?
Rudy, were you about to say something there?
Yeah. I was saying that the people that you mentioned, they have never told me that I am the nicest guy.
Well, listen, this event, I think for anyone who's been a long fan of Ozzy, you are the one that really was the sentimental, like, oh my God, Rudy is there, because the beginning of Ozzy's solo career, those old videos of the Blizzard of Oz tours and all that, it's you on stage with him. When did you get the call that this was happening?
Yeah, may I also add, I feel the same way about Jakey Lee being there.
Agreed,
also,
100%. Agreed, 100%.
Yeah. So having said that, to answer your question, yes, I in October, I got a text from Tom Morello, and Tom texted me, "Hey, yeah, okay." So I open it up and I read that Ozzy and Sharon wanted me to participate at this event happening July 5th. Was I going to be available and wanted to be a part of that. And it was like time stood still when I read that. It was like, I couldn't breathe. I was just like, I can't believe. I read it a few times just to see, am I reading correctly here? Because first of all, it's not something that it's not the kind of a text that you read every day, because then things had to go into motion. It was like, okay, I happened to be, when I read the text, I had just finished having lunch with our guitar player, Alex Grossi from Quiet Riot.
Sure.
I was at a casino in Idaho that I'm pretty sure you played at.
Sure.
Greg.
we all see each other's faces in the hallways on the sign 8x10.
Well, Chris's band is too big to play at that casino anyway. So let's talking about us. The '80s band, played there. You guys play the Enormo Dome in town.
Right.
Hey, I'm doing stand-up comedy now, though, so I'm destined to go back to that Idaho casino now.
Yeah, Chris is doing stand-up, so he's humbling
Oh,
himself.
really?
So yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good news. I love that. So, I had to tell Alex because he also works with the booking agency.
Mhm.
And I said, Alex, I just got this text here, read it. And he read it. And I told him, listen, I need to block that week of July 5th. And before that, because I'm sure there's going to be some rehearsals.
Right.
So, with the agency, block that. And I told him immediately, please don't tell anybody. And he's good. He's perfect. I can tell him something. He's not going to pass it along to anybody because he's a professional and he works at the agency and all of that. So, okay. So that was taken care of. The next one, I wanted to tell my wife face to face because this is the type of news that you just don't say over the phone. So I waited to get home that weekend, have her read the email, the text, and for herself. And it was like, she had the same effect. She was like, she was out of words. She didn't know what to say, and it was just an incredible moment, And that's how I found out about it. Now, that was October. So a few months passed and I keep bumping into Tom Morello here in LA, certain events. And he's telling me, yep, everything is on. Everything is on. Because I didn't want to be like bugging him every week. Hey, Tom, what's going on? Anything new? No, I don't want to be that guy because he's the one who put together the whole thing, the of the bands.
Right.
Not, what they call the super group.
Right. He's got a full plate.
Two full plates because he had two bands.
Yeah, he's working the buffet line that day.
That's right. And I gotta tell you, he was unbelievable. He was not only did he play his ass off on those songs that we performed, but he MD, music director for everything, make sure nothing fell through the cracks. He made everybody feel comfortable. If we have to change the tuning of a song, it was taken care of, no problem. Yeah.
And the
quite a job.
rehearsals, you're talking about the rehearsals that all the photos came out from in Birmingham, you're talking about.
Well, yes. Oh, you mean because we did a photo shoot in Birmingham too.
Oh, okay.
First day of rehearsal. So I was thinking about the one that is Ozzy and then the throne.
Yeah.
With the musicians surrounding him. Yeah, there were like different versions because he couldn't fit everybody in one photo. So we took turns getting up there to take the photo with Ozzy. Yeah.
Now, when you got that phone call in October, how long had it been since you'd been in contact with anybody in the Ozzy Osbourne camp?
Well, since they moved to England, I hadn't been in contact with them. But when they were living in Malibu, I lived pretty close to. I lived like 15 minutes. Malibu adjacent.
Yeah.
And I'll run to them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
So yeah. So now, once they permanently moved to England,
and when
we were not in contact.
And when you get the call in October, is it told to you then this is going to be the farewell show, or is it just they want you involved in a show?
And to answer your question, because it's a good question, I'm going to reread my text.
Oh, beautiful.
Don't go away. Only access my text.
Okay, no problem.
And from Tom.
Oh, this is
so
great.
You have the full answer.
I love this.
To your question. Okay. Let me see.
This is the text that he had to reread several times.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
And have Alex read and then.
Yeah.
Okay.
The initial email or text.
Okay. This is on Friday, November 1st.
Okay.
Hey, Rudy, Tom Morello here. Are you free on July 5th? The final ever Black Sabbath show with all 4 original members is going to be in the soccer stadium in Birmingham, England. That day, Ozzy and Sharon asked me to reach out to see if you would like to play on a couple of songs. I wound up playing on 7. But it was a couple of songs during the all-day tribute concert leading up to it. Hope you're well, man, and let me know. And that was the initial one.
That is awesome.
So
I was gonna say, when the word starts coming out about who else is going to be involved, is there any names that you see that you? Because at this point, is there anyone that was involved that you hadn't met? I have to believe you had met everyone that was going to be performing.
No, I hadn't met everyone. And I got, again, like I told you, I was not really bugging Tom, like, hey, who am I playing with? Who's going to be there? No, I knew that he had 2 full plates at the buffet table,
Yeah.
like Chris mentioned. And so I just left it alone. And once it was announced, because about a week before the show was announced by Sharon and Tony Iommi, uh, I got the phone call from Live Nation, and they asked me, they wanted to confirm my participation. Like, I got to tell you, Live Nation was flawless. They were impeccable. They handled everything, and everything that they subcontracted, people, production people, and catering, everything. They were just, nothing fell through the cracks. It was just unbelievable. So by then, so they asked me, okay, don't mention anything to anybody on me, social media or whatever, until the announcement is made by Sharon and Tony Iommi a few days from now. So they told me exactly the time that was going to happen. So once the word got out and I opened up the poster and I see all these names. Now, this is the first poster. It didn't have Guns N' Roses yet. And the other people that were added on at that time, like a week later. And I see all these bands participating, and I'm going like, wow, this is incredible. And then I see the list of like all these different artists, single artists. And I read my name and I go, oh my goodness, they spelled my name right.
Yeah, that hits close to home for me too. Yeah.
Neither one of us are
It's like,
Rudy
wow.
Sarzo, though.
Yeah. And I once you read it on the poster, it's kind of like official. I guess I'm really gonna be there. It was not a question of this really happening. It's it's like a reality. It's like, oh wow.
Yeah, and then is there okay, Rudy told me a story about having a moment of saying a prayer. Very religious family.
Right.
I think of young Cuban Rudy, just, I want a job. I want to be able to be a musician. And he had a moment, a spiritual moment that was answered by the Osbournes. Which makes you think, who did you pray to?
Yeah.
Right? Do I have that story right, Rudy?
I like the way you put it together.
Yeah.
That's your perception of it. I have a little bit different perception, but at the core of it, that's the outcome of it.
So is there, how emotional of as you start building up to it, realizing, wow, it's Ozzy's life, it's my life. My life is connected, my success is connected to his success.
Well, yes, and the way of like, if it wasn't for them bringing me into the band, I would probably still be homeless by now, or maybe not. But I mean, God knows what would have happened. But definitely, it changed my life. It saved my life.
Oh yeah,
and it was the answer to my prayers. It really was.
Yeah.
I did not know how they were going to materialize my prayer or the conversation that I had with God at the time. I was sleeping in Kevin DuBro's floor.
That's right.
Yeah, in his bed, in his spare bedroom, in his apartment. I was playing in his band DuBro, and I was paying the rent by playing it in his band. And we had always been friends. I love Kevin, and this is the Kevin before the success of Quiet Riot. So he was a very humble, very fun to be with individual, and we had a great relationship. And, he was a perfect, I was his roommate, but, it was perfect. We had a lot of fun together. We used to go to the Starwood every night and, just hang out and play in his band and so on. So I had just finished reading the Bible, the whole, the Old Testament, the New Testament, and me being Christian, I made in a prayer, I made peace with God that as long as my fingers kept moving, I was going to keep trying, to still carry on with my vision of being a working musician that I could afford to make a living out of playing music and maybe even have a family, the things that normal human beings,
Prayed for it to
uh,
work out. You prayed for the
yeah,
dream to happen.
yeah, yeah, the dream. But my dream was not to join Ozzy or something like that of that magnitude. It was
Right.
just
Right.
I want to make a living,
Yeah.
and but if it never materializes, my relationship with God is more important than anything else in my whole life. And that gave me an immediate sense of peace because I just let go.
Mm.
Love it.
I let go, and it was like uh, a state of grace. Is the best way that I can define it.
Now, I hear a lot of my story and yours right now. I'll ask you, when I was coming up and I was getting frustrated before, like when I too was wanting to be a working musician, like this is all I've ever wanted. I saw Gene Simmons at the age of 4 and I didn't know what he was doing, but that's what I wanted to do. And there were times in life when I would get frustrated, like, oh, when is this going to happen? I heard that voice that said, wait, it's coming. Be patient. Heard that voice. Did you ever hear that voice as well? Like in regards to that?
Uh, that is an interesting subject you're bringing up because I had visions.
Okay.
It wasn't hearing a voice. I had visions, but I was ready. I was ready to accept the fact that it wasn't going to be failure. That it was more like, okay, maybe I was not meant to be doing this. Maybe I was meant to do something else, and I was going to be at peace with that.
Mm-hmm.
If that wasn't part of God's plan for me. But like I mentioned, I just let go.
Oh yeah, and let God.
And yeah, and within a couple of days, I get a phone call from Sharon introducing herself, and she's asking me, to come down to audition because Randy had been telling her about me, and I'll give you a little sidebar later as to why this happened.
Mm-hmm.
So my immediate reaction was to say, oh, thank you so much, but I'm in this other band called Angel, and I'm like blah blah blah, and bam, she hangs up the phone.
Get out of here. I didn't know
and
that.
oh yeah, and then
Oh my God.
and then because Kevin answered the phone, because that's his home, and he answered the phone and he said, "Oh, Rudy, there's somebody who wants to talk to you." So he goes, "Who was that?" And I guess I say, "Oh, that's Ozzy's manager, and she asked me for an audition, but I really didn't want to do it because I'm an Angel, even though I'm sleeping on the floor here with you, but I'm playing the bro. I'm also in this band that just lost their record deal."
Yeah, you're an
And
angel, but an angel was calling you with an opportunity.
that's right. That's right. So Kevin starts yelling at me for having done that. They say, "You idiot! You could be playing with Randy again," and blah blah blah. You're sleeping on the floor. What are you doing? So it was like, wow, I really screwed up this time, did I? And so I was not expecting the following day to actually get the call from Ozzy. And he says, "Hey, man, we tried a bunch of guys and they're a bunch of hacks. And Randy keeps telling me that you're the guy." Now, by then, it was like, yes, I'm there already.
Absolutely.
Yes, but I was not expecting it. I thought that, okay, this is something that I missed out on, but who knows? And God gave me another chance.
Mhm.
Don't screw it up this time.
Yeah.
And I went, Randy picked me up, took me over to the hotel where Ozzy was staying. Actually, he was staying at the family, but we were at a place called Trader Vic's, which is on the Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And Tommy Aldridge was staying there, and Sharon was there, and then I had a really good conversation with Ozzy, and he's feeling me out because Ozzy is all about that. He gets a sense about people just from talking to them pretty quickly too. And so he says, "Man, I like your vibe. Just be able to play." And when I said, I said, "Yeah, I'll be there." Meaning, I'll be audition. I didn't want to tell him, "Listen, I have no idea what your music is because I don't have a record. I don't have a record player. I've never heard it. You guys are not on the radio, but I'm going to learn it." So what happened was Randy came over like an hour before. We had to go to rehearsal, and we went over the songs, and they were I Don't Know and Crazy Train. Again, this is stuff I never heard before.
Right.
It's like, okay, I got to internalize this. No cheat sheets or nothing. I got to be rock and roll about this. I got to like get it in my brain, and he get me like some ideas of how to play the bass lines and so on. And so when Randy felt like, okay, you got this, we headed over to rehearsals, and there was Tommy, and we went over the songs like maybe a couple of times. Then Sharon Ozzy showed up, and they listened to us play. And then Ozzy got up on stage. He sang both Crazy Train and I Don't Know.
Wow.
Then he turns over to me and he goes, "Hey, man, you won the gig?" I say,
Nice.
"Yeah."
Nailed it.
Okay. And my world went from black and white to living color right there in that moment.
What a great description.
It was,
I love that.
it was
analogy.
like,
I love that.
it was like, yeah, it was, we were literally going to see the Wizard of Oz.
Do you remember all those years ago who the first person you told was? Do you remember making a phone call to anybody specifically when you got the gig and he said, "Hey man, you want to be in the band"?
It would have been my mom and dad, but they would have gone, first of all, what's a gig? And,
Right.
and who's this Ozzy guy?
Right. And I kind of glazed over this a little bit when we did the conversation for the I Swear It's True, but I swear this is true conversation that we had. But when your family starts to look at the imagery and your family is religious, there had to have been at least one conversation of, "Rudy, what are you doing?"
No.
No.
But
here's the caveat.
And I wish I had it with, because it's in a different room so I could show you. So I'm on tour, and you get gold records and whatever awards for participating in something.
Sure.
So of course I knew that I did not play it on the record or Blizzard, but it's to commemorate the sale off. So the dentist. Your dentist can get a gold record, right. Your lawyer, your whatever, whoever, your cat.
Sometimes even the bass player.
Yeah.
That's right. Even the bass player that they not play on the record can get one. And so here I am. I got this record in my bunk because they gave it to us in New York or something. And so we played in Florida, and I see my mom and dad and say, "Hey, I want you guys to have this," because I didn't have a home. I was living with Ozzy and Sharon over at Sharon's family home. I didn't have a permanent home, so I wasn't about to like get back to their house and go to my room and nail it on the wall, against the gold record, And so I just give it to my mom and dad, and it's the Blizzard of Oz, right? Okay, so I give it to them. They're really happy, and so about a month later, I'm on a break, and I go down to visit my mom and dad, and I walk in their place, and I look over at the records hanging on the wall.
Oh,
and I go look closely, and I go, why is that little replica of the album cover? Why is it missing?
Yep.
And my mom looks at me and she goes, "El Diablo."
Yep. Because
the devil.
He's carrying the inverted cross in that picture. Yeah.
El Diablo.
So that was the one reference that she gave me to it. El Diablo.
El Diablo. And that's what she had to say. Okay, I got this. There's no way that I can explain, the reality of it, that he is not El Diablo.
Right.
And this is just basically rock and roll theater,
Yeah.
And
Are there memories that started to get triggered that you hadn't thought of in all these years? Were there any specific memories that started to fall out when you started to reconnect with the Osbournes, the organization, as you were getting ready for this?
yes, yeah, absolutely. We were doing rehearsals on the 3rd and the 4th of July, and the show was on the 5th. So on the 4th of July, I'm standing on the stage. It was the sound check / rehearsal. It was the second rehearsal that we had as a band, and I'm standing with Sharon. We're talking, and I go, "Oh, first of all, happy anniversary," because they got married on July 4th, 1982, and my wife and I we were there.
Oh, nice.
So she's like, we're reminiscing, and then Ross Halfin happened to walk by, and it triggered in my mind that I had a photo that Ross Halfin took at the wedding of Ozzy, myself. I'm playing a stand-up bass, and Brad Gillis is playing an acoustic guitar.
I saw this photo.
And Ozzy decided to sing Paranoid. And we took over the luau
at the wedding.
At the wedding.
In Hawaii.
In Hawaii. Yeah, Maui. And so I had the photo and just took it out and go, look, this is us 40, And Sharon's like, oh my God, that's right.
And that, where in Maui was it? I'm just curious as someone.
I think it was at the Hyatt. This is 43 years ago, 1982.
That's the hotel I always stay at when I'm there.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
You could have been playing bass for Ozzy Osbourne if you should have showed up a little earlier.
If I would, I could have been walking by a random acoustic aloha, performance on the beach of Rudy. So,
luau metal.
Yeah, the luau.
I mean, it's perfect if they had fire dancers too,
So when you land in Birmingham, do you feel it in the airport? Do you feel it in the city? Do you feel like this moment is being celebrated everywhere in the city?
No, because I landed in Heathrow. Then we drove to Birmingham.
And was it? And do you see? I heard there was artwork around the city.
Everywhere. But what really differentiated this event from anything that I've been to the Oz Festival. I played there. Sure. I mean, I've been to a bunch of Doningtons and whatever, and it's usually like everybody's in there for themselves. Basically, you're a band and we're gonna destroy this place and screw everybody else that come after us and whatever. We're gonna show them. No, it's completely different vibe here. There was one single collective consciousness of love and respect and gratitude towards Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. Everybody, from all the bands, artists, the crew, the staff, you name it, everybody was there. And this is as close as it gets to the summer of '67. Everybody talks about love and peace and everything. This was just right there. And it was everybody's wearing Black Sabbath, Ozzy shirts, and it was all about God.
And with that energy, are you already getting emotional, feeling this different energy? Are you already starting to feel the emotion of it all?
That's a great question, because my apprehension was that, is this the beginning of the end? Or the end of the beginning? Are we starting something or ending something? And I feel right now, the way that I feel, this is the beginning of something new. There's a certain freshness. There's a certain, almost a responsibility. It feels like we have been in a relay race, and Black Sabbath and Ozzy finally passes the baton to the next generation to run with it. Not a torch, because the torch eventually would burn out. This is a baton.
Yeah.
When you're in the relay race, whoever hands you the baton, that person, that athlete, or in this case, that band, still in the race.
Right.
And it's counting on you to take it to the next entity and give him the baton, the next generation, basically. And that was the feeling that I got out of being there. This is the passing of the baton to a new generation of metal.
And as someone who has done massive gigs your whole life, are you filled with any kind of anxiety that day of the show because it's so special? Or are you
Rudy fucking Sarzo?
Or have you been in this situation so many times that you're like, all right, I have a job to do?
Yeah.
A little bit of that, but still, let me explain to you. Because I've been asked this before, and I come to the realization why I feel so comfortable in front of masses. I was raised in an island in Cuba, and there's a beach within miles of anywhere in the island. So as a child, my parents very early on, they would put me in a little blanket and facing the ocean.
Nice.
And I feel very comfortable with that grandeur. So the audience to me is an ocean. It's a collective consciousness of people that gather with one thought. We want to bang our heads with these bands that are going to be performing. That's the purpose of all of us gathering in there at the same time. And to me, it's the same thing. Having an ocean in front of me, or having people with a collective consciousness. So I'm very relaxed in that atmosphere.
When you're done with your sets, are you able to relax and enjoy the rest of the evening as a spectator?
I'm still resonating and vibrating from it. It just doesn't turn off. It doesn't kind of like goes away and goes, pew, like, okay, what am I going to do now? No, I'm still energized by it. I'm still at this very moment very much energized.
That's what we've been hearing that from a few people who are a part of it, that they're still. We talked to Ellison and he said, I got off stage at whatever time. He goes, I just took a nap for the first time a couple hours ago.
Yes, I slept very well last night. Maybe that's part of that piece that comes along with that. Yeah.
At what moment in the evening do you feel, was there one defining moment where you got very emotional? Was there one standout moment that really caught you emotionally on that show?
Yes. Because, being present with Ozzy, as we were taking photos, for those big class reunion photos that we did, Ozzy was, he's saving his energy. So he was very quiet, and I just did not know what to expect from him on stage. And in my mind, I'm going, okay, this is to celebrate. This is not a typical performance.
Yeah.
And if it's Ozzy with other people singing, that's fine. Whatever he needs to get through this, it's fine. It's fine with me, and I think it's going to be fine with everybody. But as soon as he opened his mouth and started singing, I couldn't believe it. It was like, and I'm going, okay, he's really singing. It is not a track going on and he's lip syncing. This is him really singing right there. And that's when it became emotional for me.
I wish I'd been in that stadium right when that chair rises from beneath the stage. That was such an incredible entrance. Very fitting of Ozzy Osbourne coming up on that black metal, heavy metal throne, coming in, and I can only imagine how wonderful that energy in that stadium must have been at that very moment right there. This is something that we've looked forward to a long time, because Ozzy's had to cancel some tours and whatnot the last few years. And to see that moment, oh, I was so overwhelmed with just joy being able to know he is getting this moment. This is his moment. His whole life, he's worked to get to that moment, brought all of us together, brought me, a kid from Kentucky, watching on the computer, you, a kid from Cuba, looking out over the ocean, thinking about dreams. We interviewed Lizzie Hale a little earlier, young girl from Pennsylvania, Dave Ellefson, Minnesota, all these people coming together in that moment, celebrating what that man has done for us and all of our collective lives and in heavy metal as well. Powerful.
Yes. And yeah, and that's why we are all still resonating. I'm sure that like yourself, you're still affected by it, even though you were not in. You did not even have to be in the same room. I think this was like more of a global event that everybody around the world felt it at the same time.
A group consciousness, like you were talking
Yeah.
about with that.
Yeah.
Did after the show we've heard about everybody kind of congregating. It felt like it was like after a celebration, there was just a lot of family and friends hanging around afterwards. Did you stay late?
I had a very early flight, and there were over 40,000 people at the event. I needed to get back, so we just stayed for the first 2 or 3 songs from Black Sabbath, and then we snuck out. I mean, by sneaking out is getting the vehicle and heading down the alleyways of Birmingham, getting on the freeway, because we needed to go. I mean, by then I was overwhelmed. I was physically drained or mentally drained about everything. I did not, nothing else could be added to me. I was full of joy. I was full of gratitude and feeling blessed to be there. There was no room for anything else.
Did it give you any thought about how you would want to wrap up a career someday? Did it give you any thought towards that?
No, but having said that, and this is even before Saturday, as soon as things are coming together and gelling and people participating, and I'm going like, wow, this is something beyond anything that's ever happened in the music business before, as far as putting an event like this. This is almost like, let's say, Live Aid, once in a lifetime event. Maybe the Freddie Mercury celebration, but see, the 4 members of the group are still alive.
Yes.
So this is very different. This is not something dedicated to something that's passed on. Somebody who's passed on, like Freddie Mercury. This is the 4 are and the performing. That's just not showing up.
Right.
They're actually performing. So like it's a whole different level,
Yep.
And so it brought me to thinking, you know what? Every influential band, let's say the Stones, should have something like this the day that they decide, okay, this is the final performance.
Agreed.
We're going to invite every single band that we feel that are going to be carrying that we're going to hand the baton to for the relay race, the next generation of Rolling Stones, consciousness, the musicians and groups. And everybody should do that, because unfortunately nowadays, legacy artists, they fade away. It's like they'll have a tour that they have to cancel for whatever reason, and then you start asking, are they retired or? Because there's no announcement or anything. You just kind of like, and it's sad because everybody that gets to that level that becomes so influential to other artists, they come in strong, they come in hard, they come in fast.
Yeah.
And to fizzle out, I think it's really unfair to their own legacy and to the fan base.
I was thinking exactly that when I was watching Tommy the Clufetos, the guy who was playing
Oh
drums
yeah,
on
Yeah.
yeah,
solo
yeah.
song, and watching how hard he was hitting.
Absolutely.
And
I
it
saw
made
that
me
too.
think, my God, that is what this music is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a powerful sound.
Oh yeah.
And it's such a rare thing that happened that those guys went out and did it one more time, you know?
Oh yeah.
Was there any moment that was unexpected that stuck with you that day or that night at the event?
Oh, I would say, I let myself open to anything as possible here.
Mhm.
And once we got the news that Ronnie Wood was going to be joining us,
Yes, I saw that.
yeah, it was because, that happened basically overnight, and it was like, really? Okay. And by then I have played with Steven Tyler and played with Andrew Watt. And these are the guys from my side of the station. Then, Chad Smith and Danny Carey from Tool,
Mhm.
and Adam Jones from Tool, and Travis Barker from Blink 182.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how, yeah, of course, Tom Morello, Vernon Reed, Nuno Betancourt,
Mhm.
KK, and then we had Tobias from Ghost. We had Billy Corrigan, Sammy Hager. This are like huge hitters,
Yeah,
heavyweight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was in that vibe. Okay, I'm in the company of giants here, and then Ronnie Wood walks in, and it is like one single person can embody a Rolling Stones consciousness
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
that it's as far as being a foundation to what we
Right.
do, is at the very, very bottom. There's Beatles and Stones right there in
Yeah.
the corner, and everything that we do is built in that.
Mm.
So he walks in, and for me, it changed everything. Because now, we were doing Train Kept a Rolling, and, I had been listening to, because we played it with Steven Tyler. So, of course, I'm going to listen to the Aerosmith version of it. And prior to that, there were a few other versions. And then he walks in and he starts playing it, but like if he was playing with the Stones. And it's like, oh shit, we're going down to like the core of where this is coming from.
Oh yeah.
This is like first generation vibe, British rock of, interpreting this song. So it was like he happened to be his amplifier right next to me. So I'm just soaking it in,
Yeah.
getting that greasy feel of the way he plays, and that was really unexpected, really was.
That the fact that you made time for us today after such an amazing event to tell us about your firsthand experience of it, because again, for so many of us, our earliest memories of Ozzy as a solo artist, and that was my introduction to Ozzy, was as a solo artist. It wasn't Black Sabbath at my age when I started to get into music. It's with you. It's with Randy. It's with Tommy, and it's so to make time for us. There's one thing you said at the beginning of the conversation, though, that I'm just curious about, when you said that when you got the text and you said, I showed it to Alex because I know he can keep a secret. How many people have you worked with who just couldn't keep a secret?
A lot. A lot.
Yeah.
But, because, Alex understands, the business. A lot of the guys that I played with were just like musicians
Right.
who are not necessarily business oriented
Right.
creators. You
Right.
can be creative. He's very creative, but also since he works with the agency, the booking
Right.
agency, he's very business minded. He understands, certain things. It's like, for example, let's say we get booked for a certain gig at a certain time, and he would either tell me, listen, the promoter or the headliner doesn't want this to go out yet.
Right.
And okay, so we'll do that. We just keep it to ourselves, and then we either get the green light from the promoter or the headliner, and it makes the announcement.
And you do it the way it's supposed to be done professionally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you had mentioned earlier, we were talking about all the different players out there. Just the fact that Jakey Lee is back out there playing again, having just gotten shot in a robbery here in Las Vegas not that long ago. All that bad blood that was going on, and for everybody just to let that go and allow that thing to happen on stage. That was my first experience being introduced to Ozzy Osbourne, was Bark at the Moon.
Yeah.
On a local radio station in Lexington, Kentucky. I was like, what is this? Hearing that guitar playing, I was like, my God. And then it's Ozzy Osbourne on top of that. Just how special being able to see that in person as well for you, with the history that you have with Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, because this was after that record came out after I left the band.
Right.
To go back to what became known as the Quiet Riot version, mental health version of Quiet Riot. So it's, and I really haven't talked much about this. And I'm glad that you brought it up, because maybe I need to get it out of my system or something like that. Unfortunately, my attitude, which I regret now, I wasn't very keen on anything post Randy.
Right.
Until Zach. Because I felt that Zach was the first guitar player that really gave kudos to Randy. And only because I was there. Randy was responsible for me joining the band.
Oh, yeah.
And I was there when Randy died. And I was there when we carried on without him. The pain, the loss, the trauma of it. That I guess it was part of my being traumatized by Randy's death, that I wasn't willing to accept anything after Randy passed away, regarding Ozzy. Not Ozzy himself, but just the fact that people coming into the band and maybe not giving, the proper kudos to Randy for his contributions to it, And I regret that. I regret that, because I think that I lost a period of that band that I could have really enjoyed at the time. I enjoy it now because I'm able to listen to it without
attachments.
Yeah, exactly.
Were you able?
Exactly.
Did you vocalize at the time your displeasure with carrying on after Randy to people?
I understood the importance of the band carrying on at that moment after Randy passed away, because it was very clear that Ozzy would have drank himself to death.
Yeah.
If he was just like, okay, we're gonna cancel the tour and everybody go home. No, it would have not turned out well.
So you
for
kept
Ozzy.
So you kept it to yourself.
Well, it was just no. I wasn't displeased. Because I gotta say, I see, one thing is, while I was in the band after Randy died, it was we were still playing the music that was part of the Blizzard and Dire of the Madman record, So it was understood that these guitar players would, like Brad Gillis, let's say. Brad Gillis was a fan of Randy. That's why he picked up on that style. That's why he got the gig, because he could play like that, And so I never felt that Brad, I always felt that he appreciated Randy. enough that even before he got the gig, he gravitated towards playing like Randy. You know, Randy was an influence to him. You know,
so he was
which
paying,
is something
paying tribute
yeah,
to Randy at that
yes.
point through the playing and whatnot. Yeah.
Well, respect, yeah, and which is something that it was very clear to me from Zach. He always spoke of Randy with, you know, revered him, you know, and which I don't know if the guitar player, you know, which would be Jake, he was trying to establish his own identity. We never really had a conversation regarding that, but I can't really recall any mention of Randy. It maybe even I don't know. I wasn't there, and I wasn't about to dig into as to why.
Right.
I just saw what was going on, and like I said, it kind of like turned me off to listening to that period of the music. And now that I can listen to it back, now that I understand better, you know, how people do things, how people treat certain situations.
You understand it better.
I understand it better.
Yeah.
I can actually listen to the music with complete appreciation.
Was that the first time you'd ever worked with Jake?
Well, actually, I didn't get to play with him because he was in the other group.
Right. In the second.
But we hung out, you know.
Was it the first time you guys had hung out?
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's a full circle moment right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah, bringing together all the different worlds that Ozzy Osbourne has touched.
I keep thinking about, I was friends with a comedian named Mitch Hedberg. We were roommates in New York, and his fame grew after he passed. And it's surreal for me to hear people talk about him. It must have been just as surreal for your friend Randy to elevate to this angelic status and who's revered decades later for his work, and his name is still, it's still out there in the consciousness. And to hear people talk about someone who was your friend, he was your friend, he actually helped you get the gig. Did that, over the years, did that feel surreal to have your friend spoken about like that?
No,
Because
I'll tell you why. Yeah, well, yeah, but why? You know, I mean, I would say most younger generation of Randy, their only reference that they have is those records. Blizzard of Oz, Diary of a Madman, and Tribute, the live record that we did. When I played with Randy, there was another year from Tribute to when he passed away of his musical growth that I got to experience every night on stage. I know that Randy. I play with him, and he, no matter how great things people say about Randy, he was actually better than they'll ever know.
And that's saying something because he was amazing. Yeah.
It was amazing.
D alone.
And still considered.
But he recorded D like 2 years before he passed away in 1980. His growth was exponential. Every day it was like, you know, compounded what he had done the day before, you know, the previous show. He would take it to the next level. And I have never seen anybody like that, you know, on a professional level, you know, grow so fast and so deep. But he devoted himself to it. It became once he got the award for the best new guitar player on Guitar Player magazine in the Cow Palace, December 30th, 1981, which was the first show in the US for the Diary of a Madman tour.
Mm.
That's when he was convinced, like, okay, people are paying attention to what I'm doing. Yeah, because back then nobody knew. You know, we just
Right.
you went from town to town playing a show, and it's
Yeah.
like we would leave before the following morning the review will come out
Right.
in the newspaper.
Right.
Oh, Ozzy played last night. Well, we were gone. We
Right.
were in the next city, you
Right.
know, and so we never knew. And not until he got the award, it's like, oh, wait a minute, people are listening to what I'm doing. That was the pivot right there. That's when he started mostly playing classical guitar backstage before the show, and sheet music, and getting lessons from city to city when we travel.
Who in the world would Randy Rhoads get lessons from?
Yeah, right.
That's incredible. Who is his teacher?
I know, but he was seeking knowledge. I mean, he would have loved YouTube right now with all those lessons that you can get, from all over the world,
How in the world, I'm with Ozzy, with Kevin in your life, how did you not get into drugs and alcohol the way so many of us did? Like Chris and we're in recovery, we're sober, but you were
I'm sober too. I'm sober too.
You are? Yeah. Okay. So you did do the dance for a little bit.
Yeah, but one of the things, remember that I said the sidebar regarding my turning down the audition for the first time.
Yeah.
Once, see, I've been sober for 28 years, but it wasn't until COVID that I started attending Zoom meetings for AA.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And I just out of curiosity, and then I find out, wait a minute, I am an alcoholic. I thought I was just a guy who quit drinking. And then I realized I've been making alcoholic decisions all this time.
That's hilarious.
All that time.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And so that changed everything for me. Then saying, okay, this is what because thank God I've had so many times in my life where I said, no, thank you. Just shooting from the hip. Somebody asked me, do you want to do this? Oh, no, thanks. And then the next day I go, shit, I should have thought about it more. But usually what happens is, if it's meant to be, it will come back to me a second time.
Yeah.
It's like God saying, okay, let me ask you the second time. Are you sure you don't want to do this? And by then it's like, okay, you're right. I should be doing this, So ever since I found out that I'm an alcoholic and I make alcoholic decisions, I step away. I don't answer. As a matter of fact, emails, texts, sometimes I just read them. And if I have some kind of a adverse reaction to reading them, I don't reply. I just let it go. I'll go back the next day, read it again. I go, oh, okay, I get it. It's not as bad as I thought,
That is an alcoholic description.
Absolutely.
Right there.
And to be able to take that pause between that stimulus and response.
Yeah.
Beauty in that.
I want one last question I wanted to ask you. Did you have any final words with Ozzy at the end of the night before he went on stage? Or any anytime during the rehearsals or anything to just like check in?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, actually during the photo shoot, because, they were rehearsing on their own somewhere else.
Okay.
Getting ready. So we were rehearsing at in the hall at the stadium. They set up like different rehearsal rooms for all the bands. And we were rehearsing there. And meanwhile, Ozzy was rehearsing at a proper rehearsal place. I mean, this was really well done, with proper monitors and backlight and the whole thing. So I just again like with Sharon, it was just it gave me the opportunity, which is what I was there for, just to show my gratitude and express it, not just show it, express it. Telling them that that I owe them, my career, that they saved my life.
Yeah.
A bit.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Rudy. You are the kind of nice that makes me think, well, if he can be that nice to people like me, then who am I to, not that I ever have a short temper with people or I see certain examples in life where I go, oh man, I should be more like that guy. And you're one of those guys, Rudy.
I think it comes down to you, like the amount of gratitude that you have, expressing your gratitude and just allowing that flow. That's something that I see in you that I'm going to try to teach Mr. Craig Gass about here in Las
Well,
Vegas.
like I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, only people who are nice recognize other nice.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
We see that in each other.
Yeah. So
Maybe
what he's
that's
saying
it.
is there is hope for you, Craig.
Yeah.
There is hope for you.
Well, thank you for making time for us, Rudy. We'll see you next time. Looking forward to the next time I see you.
And what a treat is having Chris in our conversation here.
Yeah,
This is
agreed.
wonderful.
Years ago, this is crazy for me because when I first moved to Las Vegas, I went to go see, I believe it was Korn at the Hard Rock Hotel at the Joint. I was just visiting Las Vegas. I was still living in Kentucky, but scouting out Vegas to actually move out here. The first famous person I met was Kevin DeBro at that show. I was upstairs in the balcony. I think I'd won some sort of radio contest. I was up on the balcony.
Really?
Yeah. And Kevin was up there and I was like, oh my God, that's Kevin DeBro. So he was walking my way and I went up and I introduced myself and I was like, hey, I just want to say hi. My name's Chris. And he's like, yeah, my name's Kevin. I go, I know. that was the one time that I got to see and hang out with Kevin DeBro. He was my introduction to heavy metal here in Las Vegas. So yeah, full circle there too.
And for those of you who are watching this that don't know who Chris is, he also won another contest where he got to be in a band called Five Finger Death Punch.
Yes, I
He
did.
was caller number 7.
Yep. And now when you come up to me, I still say, hey, I'm Chris.
Yeah.
Chris Kale. Yep. Same thing. Yep. I learned it from watching you guys. And I appreciate the example that people like yourself have set for people like me out here doing the thing that you have laid the groundwork for and have given us the opportunity between you and Ozzy and, Ron Wood and everybody else. Just I want to express my gratitude to you today for inspiring me. I had the Metal Health, the mask.
Oh yeah.
Hung up over my bed back in Lexington, Kentucky because of you guys. So yes.
It was the first hard rock album that took me away from Jay Giles' band, Olivia Newton-John, everything that was going on at the time. It was the sound of Metal Health that I went, what is that?
Yep.
Oh my God. And that is the entree to everything I discovered after that. It was quite, as was an entire country of kids my age. It was,
Yeah.
I mean, that again, first album to debut at #1. And that is a massive moment in this genre of music.
And for Rudy to be able to have played the US Festival and now this, along with everything else that the man's done.
We're just going to keep talking over you, Rudy.
Yeah, we're going to sing. We're here to sing your praise now, Rudy. Yeah.
Can I just add something?
Yes.
Because it just reminds me. When I joined Ozzy, it was so heavy every night that I started listening to Barry Manilow just to mellow out. I did.
Yeah.
That was when I got the first Walkman. Remember, 1981. So Walkmans were like, "Ooh, what is this?"
Oh, that is
And
hilarious.
So the first cassette I bought was Barry Manilow Greatest Hits.
Oh, that's
Have you had a chance to see
hilarious.
Barry Manilow here in Vegas yet?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we were actually. I was doing a project called Monster Circus at the Hilton,
That's right.
and we shared the venue. He would come on, do his show. An hour later, we would do ours.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he would be in the audience getting everybody up. it was nuts. I love Barry now.
That's
do.
hilarious.
Yeah.
At the Copacabana.
We're- oh, yeah.
We're going to call this episode Rudy Sarzo called Us Nice. That's going to be the name of the episode. Thank you, Rudy. We'll see you next time,
So
buddy.
good.
Looking forward to next time.
God bless.
All right.
Thanks, Rudy.
Same to you, buddy.